Ladies and gentlemen, and everyone else in between, welcome to the most important moment in the year for cinema. A night where the stars get together to parade and show off their vast wealth and pat themselves on the back for not drinking cow's milk and wearing ethically sourced diamonds. As usual, the Academy hosts 22 categories of awards, of which most people only care about three and are the only ones that really matter. Yes, despite film being a collaborative process requiring many different moving parts, which all contribute massively to the final product, we're here to discuss the big boys in the room, your director actor types. None of these stunt coordinators or sound engineers of the like. Frankly, it would be easier for the Academy to reduce these roles to one category called Best Help of the Year, just to throw them a bone. Speaking of boys, don't you worry, ladies, there was plenty of representation this year. Shame you brought out your films the same year Oppenheimer was released. You stood no chance against a film about an old white man who does a bad thing and feels sad about it. Look, gals, we gave Barbie Best Song, and it was the one sung by a woman, so just get off our backs, okay? Virtual signalling, though, was the flavour of the night. Jonathan Glazer, during his acceptance speech, called out the genocide of the Palestinian people in Gaza, yet the speech is nowhere to be found on any of the Academy's official channels. However, the full interview for 20 Days in Mariupol is proudly displayed on their YouTube channel and many news websites for all to see. It's about as subtle as Jimmy Kimmel and John Cena doing a bit that somehow was more embarrassing than actually streaking on live television. Speaking of Jimmy, they wheeled him out again to host the ceremony for a fourth time. At this point, I can only assume he is a psyop being used to cull the population with cringy jokes and terrible delivery. I'm kidding, Jimmy. It's all good. We both know no one watches the Oscars anymore. Except, of course, for your two hosts for this special episode of the My Isolation podcast. I'm Alex Anal, taking the reins for this episode, along with my wickedly talented co host, Connor O'Donnell. How are you?
I'm good, yeah. Feels a bit weird to be on the other side, but it'll be nice to to kick back and let somebody else take the reins for a change.
Well, I mean, with the awards ceremony being around, I felt it was needed for this intro to be as self-indulgent as possible, and obviously, with me breaking out as the host and presenting of this episode, I had to do the best I can. I hope you enjoyed my opening speech.
No, it was fine. It was all good, yeah.
That's good. Yeah, so obviously I'm presenting it this time, so I have full control of this and have all the power, which is just the way I like it. So
Mm.
I figured the best way we do it is we should go through each of the categories that we have here, and we'll talk a little bit about the films, whether we've seen them or not, and maybe some
Yeah.
of the people behind them. And yeah, we'll
Mm.
just go from there, shall we? So I
Yeah.
think the one that we'll start off, which is one that I was quite happy with, was Best Visual Effects. Now, there were 5 nominations, and do you know who won this one, Connor?
I've got the Guardians article up here, so I'm just scrolling through it right now just to
You're on the same one I am, and it's all the way down at the
yeah,
bottom.
yeah, Godzilla -1.
That's right, Godzilla
Yeah.
-1, which I think
Yeah.
a lot of people were surprised about. To be honest with you, I definitely
Mm.
was when I read it. I don't think a Godzilla film has ever been awarded or even nominated for best visual effects, as far as I'm aware of.
Mm. Well, I mean, it was. I've heard story. I've heard that apparently. I did because I don't watch. I'm full disclosure. I don't actually watch the Oscars. I kind of just watch the.
Okay, did I?
No, I just watch the highlights on YouTube. But I haven't seen this. But apparently, they brought the like Godzilla toys with them on stage or something
Yes,
like
they
that.
did. They were also wearing Godzilla themed shoes,
Nice.
which is
Nice.
pretty sick. I mean, if you're going for best visual effects, you gotta come prepared with that kind of stuff, in my opinion. Considering that Godzilla as a series is probably one of the most famous for special effects in the history of cinema.
Mm. No, I get that. Yeah, I mean, you definitely got to come prepared. But I'm glad that they won. I mean, I haven't because I've not. I mean, I've seen the only ones out of all these I've seen are Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 3, but the effects for that were pretty cool.
Mm.
Um, Not seen the creator, even though I've got Disney Plus, I could easily watch it. But just it's one of those movies I've not gone around to it yet.
No,
Uh,
it's fine. You know, like we could have spent ages watching all of these films, but we do not have the
yeah,
time, unfortunately.
no,
I've seen some of these films. I mean, I've
same.
seen the film that's won the most awards,
Yeah,
which we'll get into later on, no doubt. But
I
yeah,
have not.
yeah. Well, that's fine. I can take the reins
Yeah,
on that one. But yeah, um, yeah. I mean, but I mean that's completely fair. I mean, I've not seen Godzilla minus one yet, but I mean I'm more than familiar with the team that's worked behind it because they also worked on Shin Godzilla,
yeah.
which was also a film that had great special effects in it.
Mm, that sounds pretty good. Yeah, I've not seen. I've
Mm.
not seen. I'm not. Well, yeah, I'm not a big Godzilla man, but
Well,
um, yeah, I've
I mean I
heard.
don't know how I feel about that, Connor. Well, that's fine. It's fine. Whatever.
No, that's all right. It's just one of those franchises I've not been able to get into yet.
I
Not yet.
mean, Godzilla is like there's like a handful of really great films, and there are loads of films that take it, and a few most of those ones are the ones that take it really seriously. And
Yeah,
then there's like there's like the weird ones where like Godzilla's like the friend of all children, and like yeah, he like flies around on his tail and like drop kicks other monsters. It's a strange series, Godzilla, so that's fair
yeah,
enough to that you haven't watched seen it.
yeah. But no, I'm glad I won visual effects.
Hmm.
That's pretty much all I've got for that one. Yeah,
Yeah, that's fine. We'll move on then. We'll move on to best sound because we have got 22 categories after all.
yeah,
That's a lot of categories to get through, and there were some that we're going to talk about way more than others.
yeah.
But the winner of best sound was The Zone of Interest, which I've got an interest in this film. I don't know if you know this, Connor.
Oh, have did you watch this one at all? Or
No, but I'm quite familiar with this film because obviously I believe that this is based off of a book as well, and I was
yeah,
familiar. What, sorry?
yeah, yeah. I was just
Oh,
agreeing with
sorry, yeah.
you.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. And I've been familiar with the book beforehand, and like the themes of both the book and the film are things that
Yeah. Mm,
I'm very interested in. I've been meaning to watch this film. It's just as always, we just don't have the time as much as I would like to. But I think considering what happened with the director of this film during the Oscars, I think it's definitely
mm.
something we're going to talk about a bit more during this podcast. 'Cause have you seen the clip with
Yeah,
Jonathan Glazer? Yeah, I think everyone has at this
yeah.
stage. Yeah,
Everyone's seen that clip. Yeah, is where he talks about the controversy going on with Gaza and stuff like that. Where
yeah.
yeah,
More specifically, he's referring to something which is actually a big part of the book, which is
yeah,
how people turn a blind eye
mm,
to this kind of thing, and he very specifically is calling out the creative industry for turning a blind eye to you know to the genocide of the Palestinian people in Gaza at the hands of the IDF and the Israeli government,
yeah,
which considering that a lot of the time the industry likes to present itself as being like, oh yeah, we're very anti you know war, and like we're all like we're all about veganism and like protecting the planet. It kind of brings in that hypocrisy of being like, yeah, but none of you have said anything about
mm,
this other conflict that's going on, and that's something that the film The Zone of Interest talks about, obviously being set
yeah,
in Nazi Germany. But the film is from the perspective of a family that who live in a who live like literally in next to a concentration camp because the father of the family is the runner of that camp. But it's more from the perspective of that family living in this spot of what could be described as paradise and ignoring all the problems that are happening literally next door, which
yeah,
is makes sense then that Jonathan Glazer came out on stage and spoke about that.
mm,
Considering that there are a lot of people that have turned a blind eye to it. But yeah,
mm,
that won Best Sound, and I looked on this because obviously, after Jonathan Glazer made that speech on the Oscars official channel, they've got an interview with the sound designers for Zone of Interest, but not with Jonathan Glazer himself,
yeah,
and that's really, really bad.
yeah,
And I think it's more, like I said in the intro speech, it's more hypocritical when they've given, they've done the exact opposite with 20 Days of Mariupol, which obviously in complete fairness, that's about the Ukrainian Russian war, which is completely fine to be critical of like Russia's involvement in that, absolutely. But to me, picking and choosing like that is not right. You're either all for it, or you're either all for the not being a thing, or you don't do any of it. You know what I mean?
No, I get what you mean. Yeah,
Yeah,
and it's always good to call out the hypocrisy of always good to call out the hypocrisy, particularly within the celebrity status as well. You have celebrities who would say, yeah, well, I'm for this and that, but then
yeah. I
like
think I
yeah,
think to be fair, this year it was a lot better
yeah,
than it has been in previous years. Like I remember,
yeah,
I can't remember. I think it might have been 2 years ago when they had like Gal Gadot out on stage with like two other actresses. I can't remember exactly who it was, and they were obviously talking about like women empowerment and stuff like that. And then in that same show, they had Eminem on stage, who's
yeah,
obviously got like some of the most sexist and misogynistic lyrics out
mm,
there in the game. You know what I mean?
yeah,
And it's like, what's going on here? Like, what does this mean? Why are you preaching about this thing and then bringing out someone like that? It just
mm,
doesn't make sense to me. But whatever. But yeah, they won Best Sound, which
yeah.
I'm sure was a well deserved reward. It went up against like Mission Impossible and even Oppenheimer, which I think is quite an achievement in that regard.
Well, yeah, because Oppenheimer won everything. But
Yeah, but also I do feel like as
mm,
well that maybe they might have given it to Zone of Interest because they
mm,
had to they had to throw a bone to that film because it is a film about the Holocaust, which the Academy loves
yeah,
films about the Holocaust.
mm,
But it was a year that's obviously with Oppenheimer being probably one of the biggest films to come out in a while that's not related to like a franchise beforehand.
yeah,
So yeah, I mean that's all I've got to say about that one. So
uh,
we'll we'll probably skip the live action and animated short films because I
yeah.
don't think I've watched any of them. Have you watched any of them?
No, no.
I haven't, unfortunately, but
Yeah,
I have heard that they're both very good. The Wonderful Story of Henry Sugar and War Is Over.
mm,
I've heard they're both very good, so I probably will give them a watch. And judging by
okay.
from the interviews given by them, it does seems like something I'd be interested in watching. So I will keep an eye on them in future. But I think we'll move on to best production design next.
Yeah, it's because it was Poor Things that won this one.
It was indeed. Have you
Mm.
managed to get round to watch Poor Things yet?
Yeah, yeah, I watched it in the cinema.
Oh
Yeah,
yeah, you did, didn't you? Yeah.
yeah.
And do you feel like that's a deserved win for that one then?
To be honest, yeah. I mean, because I've not seen. The only one I've seen out of this list is Barbie.
Hmm.
Um, I've not seen Killers of the Flower Moon, Napoleon, Oppenheimer. So I've seen only Barbie and Poor Things. But I think Poor Things deserves it because a lot of those, a lot of the set designs are big and huge and kind of extravagant and very creative. And not saying that Barbie was any of those things as well,
No.
but Poor Things was just on a much more bigger scale. And it was just like if you watch the movie and stuff, those set designs just sort of they just pop out at you completely. And half the time they do kind of there's a bit of a sort of stage playism to them as well.
Yeah,
A little bit.
it's going for a more specific theme. I've not seen Poor Things, but I have seen
Yeah.
Barbie, Oppenheimer, and Killers of the Flower Moon.
Mm.
And I mean, out of those three, I would have chosen Barbie
Yeah.
personally. I do feel like that does have the best production design. I
Mm.
think that the film looks great. I think it
Oh
does
yeah.
a very good job of creating a separation between the real world and the Barbie world.
Mm.
But that's going off of that, really. I've not seen Poor Things, which was obviously the winner. I mean, I might prefer that in the long run. It doesn't really matter. But
Mm.
I think that was a pretty good list in general. I think if you went with any one of them, you couldn't have gone wrong.
Mm.
Um, but it's nice you went for something a little different than
Yeah.
probably what would have been suspected. But I think a lot of people are probably still quite annoyed that Barbie hasn't won more
Well, Barbie
during
didn't.
this
I don't think.
ceremony.
Yeah, I mean, Barbie barely won anything. I think.
I think it won. I think it literally just won the next category, which is best
Yeah,
original song.
yeah, which is what I was made for by.
Yes,
What's her name?
Billie Eilish.
Yeah, Irish. That's it.
Yeah, she does. And I mean, I'm glad it won something, but I actually would have preferred it if it was "I'm Just Ken" because that song was so good.
Yeah, yeah, I did love the
I,
song "I'm Just Ken." I can't lie.
yeah, it was a really good song, but I can understand. I feel like in this one, from the Academy, it was more of a tactical decision, in my personal opinion. I think they wanted
Yeah,
Barbie to win something,
mm,
and they wanted it to make sure that it was recognizing a female
yeah,
artist in it, and
yeah,
I think that's why they went for Billie Eilish over Ryan Gosling in particular. But he did perform that song at the Oscars, and it was still good. The song in
mm,
general is really good. I really enjoyed. I mean, I enjoyed Barbie in general, but
yeah.
I think Ken in general was like probably my favorite part of the film.
Mm.
But I think everyone was great in it. To be fair,
Oh no, I imagine that. Yeah, I mean, I'm like what I was made for. I do think it's a really good song. Don't get me wrong. I think Bill Irish does a great job with that, and it's very kind of the slow and more kind of melancholy kind of dramatic
Mm,
song to it, which contrasts a lot with Barbie's more kind of upbeat, like goofy, silly tone as well. But which helps bring out the big final emotion, kind of emotional moment where her and the Barbie's creator. I can't remember the name of Barbie's creator. But they're in kind of that white void, and she wants to become human, and it gives that scene
yeah.
more feeling, more impact. And it's
Oh
just
yeah,
like,
it definitely
yeah,
fits in well with the themes of the film.
yeah,
This
exactly, yeah.
idea of Barbie being a character, which is like, well, why do I exist? Like, what, I
Mm,
can be this, I can be that, and the whole point of the film is that it's like, no, you don't have to be what men want you to be, and you don't have
yeah,
to resolve that, become exceptional. You just have to exist. You are
mm,
fine as you are. That's what the film is about. There's no
yeah,
need for you to stress yourself out and go over and beyond, which is what I think is a really good message to send to not just women but everyone, because I
yeah,
feel like that is a problem still. The idea of, like, we all need to be exceptional, which,
mm,
I don't think is a necessity. I don't think exceptionalism is the default necessity for people to be anything more
mm,
than just be normal, be a regular person. It's fine. There's
yeah,
nothing wrong with that. You know what I
exactly,
mean?
yeah.
It's a
No, I get that,
positive
yeah,
message to send out to
yeah.
people.
It's just a shame Bobby didn't win anything else.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure it hasn't won anything else. I mean, if
no,
I get maybe I'll get a nice surprise later on, because I obviously didn't watch it.
mm,
So I don't know 100%. Let's see. So that was best original song, but now we've got to get to best original score,
right.
which is
Um,
obviously Oppenheimer that won that.
yeah, I've not watched Oppenheimer, but I've heard like bits and pieces of the score, and it does sound very. It does.
I
It,
think,
yeah,
I'll be completely honest with you, I think this one is just really safe.
yeah,
I think obviously it's Hans Zimmer doing the score, which, fair
mm,
enough. Hans Zimmer is a very
oh yeah,
acclaimed, um, you know, um, I'm trying to think of the bloody word now. I can't even think of the word. Music man. He's a yeah, you know what I mean. Composer. That's what I'm looking for. For God's sake.
yeah,
He's a very acclaimed composer, and he's done films for a lot of films. But I'll be completely honest with you, with Oppenheimer, I do think a lot of the songs were a bit too stiff
mm,
in
okay,
that thing, and I think placements of some of the music as well. But that's not necessarily Hans Zimmer's fault. That's more to do with the
mm,
editing process. But I do feel like a lot of it was a bit like, yeah, whatever. Some of these bits would be better off if there was just silence rather than having this, big booming
mm,
soundtrack in the background. And I wasn't like particularly, like, blown away by the soundtrack. But
mm,
the only other two films I've seen are Killers of the Flower Moon and Indiana Jones and the Dial of Destiny. And I
yeah,
like the Indiana Jones soundtrack a lot, but
yeah,
it doesn't have, the Dial of Destiny wasn't as good as like previous ones with
mm,
John Williams and stuff. It wasn't, and Killers of the
yeah,
Flower Moon was good as well. But I think once again
mm,
it was safe. So I
mm,
couldn't really say, like, which one would have been a better win over
yeah.
Oppenheimer, but
I
that's
quite,
just me.
I don't know. I quite liked Poor Things' soundtrack. It was
Yeah,
very, because obviously Poor Things, it's a very weird, wacky kind of movie, but I think that soundtrack was quite unique in that aspect, and yeah, I think Poor Things could have won it easily, but I don't know. Oppenheimer could have been a safe choice. I mean, Hans Zimmer is a really good composer, though. Can't lie.
yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
he's definitely has a reputation,
mm,
and that reputation has preceded him, and he's still to this day, like still the go-to person for a lot of people,
yeah,
which I think is good. But I think once again, like, the problem that happened with John Williams was is that there were loads of great composers that were just sort of pushed to the wayside and weren't given an opportunity
yeah,
because that was the de facto one, which I don't think is a good idea, really.
mm,
But that's fine. Yeah.
yeah.
So the next one was best makeup and hairstyling, which was
Mm.
won by Poor Things.
Oh yeah, I mean I can see that. Poor things. The makeup and makeup and everything like that was really good. The costumes as well were also really good.
Yeah. And
Um,
that's why it won best
yeah,
production design as well. Like, it
yeah,
seems that, I mean, that's fair. If usually one wins one or the other, they usually the other one get the other one as well. Usually,
yeah,
I find that that's the case, which is fair. Yeah. So there we go. Yeah, if it fits with the time, but
yeah,
obviously it's more of a exaggerated look at that time
yeah.
period.
Exactly. Yeah, it
So
helps with the more wacky nature of what the movie's trying to go for.
absolutely,
Yeah.
I have been meaning to watch it. I will get around to watching Poor Things at
It's
some point.
the best way I can describe Poor Things is that it's like completely twisted and fucked up in like the best way possible.
That's good. I like Twisted and Fucked Up. It's one of the
Yeah,
things I really
yeah,
I always really enjoy a film that is willing to push
yeah,
me a little bit and make me go, hey, get exposed to this thing that might make you a little bit uncomfortable. And I go, all right, let's do it.
yeah,
Obviously, I have my limits, of course, and
oh, yeah.
I always feel like if you're watching something that's too much, it's okay to turn it off. That's fine.
Mm.
Yeah.
Human centipede.
Yeah. Then I guess we'll go to probably one of the biggest awards of the night, which was the best international feature film,
Yeah,
which of course was won by Zone of Interest, and is when Jonathan Glazer gave his speech about
yeah,
the attack on Gaza,
yeah,
the attacks on Gaza, sorry, plural.
mm.
Yeah, I mean, what more can be said, really? I mean, all the other films, like Lo Capitano, did I watch that one? No, I didn't watch that one. It's not the one I thought it was. Never mind. I've not seen some of the other ones. I've heard of quite a lot about Society of Snow, which was based on a what country were they from again? Is it to do with? Is it a that was it? 1972 rugby team. That was crashed in the Andes. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. But I've heard that that film's really good as well. But that's kind of like a survival story about this rugby team that crashed. It's based on a true
mm.
story
Oh
that
wow.
crashed in the Andes in the 1970s and obviously had to survive for quite a long time out there
Mm.
on their own. So I think, to be fair, it had pretty stiff competition, Zone of Interest, and I think it came out on top on that one.
Yeah,
Um, but like I said, I think it was bound to win something like this during the Oscars because that kind of
mm.
thing of the Holocaust is still something that's still a lot of people pay a lot of attention for, especially in a country
Yeah,
like America, which is like got
exactly. Yeah,
big ties to it. So I can understand that completely, and I think all the other films as well have been pretty well received. So yeah,
mm.
just the best of the bunch, as they say. There we go.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, I've not seen it myself. I'll have to check it out eventually. I'll
Yeah,
check it out at some point.
yeah, absolutely. I mean,
Yeah.
it's on. I think it's on Disney Plus now.
Oh, nice. I'll have to check
I
it out.
think I think it is or somewhere like that. Because I know Poor Things is on there now as well, so I'm going to probably
Yeah.
catch up on that. Yeah.
Uh, I'm not seeing it on Disney Plus. I think it might be on Amazon Prime though for like
Oh, Amazon Prime.
14.99.
It's on something.
It's on some.
One of the many streaming services that now exists in
Yeah.
the world. All
Yeah.
fucking 500 of them that you got to subscribe to.
Yeah. Well.
Yeah, I'm glad we moved away from TV subscriptions. Anyway,
Yeah.
best film editing is the next category,
Who
which was
won that?
obviously won by, you guessed it, Oppenheimer.
Oppenheimer. Yeah.
That's right, guys.
I'm
That's
sure. I'm sure Oppenheimer deserved to win it. I mean, but I have
Yeah, I
seen.
mean, the editing was actually one of the strongest points of Oppenheimer.
Mm,
Absolutely. That and the acting and the cinematography
yeah.
were like the two biggest strong points of the
Yeah.
of that film. And I think it's completely fair to get to for it to win that.
Mm,
I've only seen Killers of the Flower Moon, which was also really well edited as well.
yeah.
But I think Oppenheimer did something a little bit more unique and was like actually trying to get you into the head of the characters
Yeah.
who you were seeing the perspective of, like um obviously like Oppenheimer's segments in the film are obviously like they're edited in a way that really makes you feel like you're getting into his actual
Mm,
his
yeah.
actual mind. And then
Yeah. His
obviously when it
mindset and
went
everything.
to
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr.'s character, which was Louis Strauss, that's it.
Yeah.
All of his scenes were shot in black and white,
Okay.
or at least were edited to look like they were shot in black and white. And I always took that because he's much more of a binary character than Oppenheimer. Obviously, Oppenheimer developed, in real life and in the film was a member of the Communist Party. He was a big
Mm,
fan of. He was a big proponent of workers' rights. But
yeah.
obviously, during the Second World War, he went on this program because he was worried about what the Nazis were going to do if they won. So, and,
Yeah.
and also he, his real life close friend Einstein, he assumed
Mm,
that they were developing it, so he developed the bomb himself.
yeah.
And obviously, by that stage, it was taken out of his hand because it was the U.S. government that then did what they did with the bombs and during the war. And he's a man who, to the end of his days, was incredibly conflicted about inventing it.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think the film does a much better job of portraying his viewpoints as being, much more conflicting.
Mm,
Whereas when it goes to Louis Strauss, who is a much more like everything's black and white, I'm right, someone else, then these people are wrong. I think the black and white did a good job of like illustrating that, as it
yeah.
were. Yeah.
Nice.
Um,
Do you have I mean, I've seen two of film, like I've seen Poor Things, obviously, but I also saw The Holdovers as well.
Oh yeah, you did, didn't you? Would
Yeah,
you? How was that film? Was it good?
it was good. Yeah, I mean, the editing in that one really, because obviously the film is set in the '70s, and it really
Yeah.
tries to give you that '70s feel to it, like to
No,
make it
that's
feel
good.
like you're actually watching a movie from that time period. Like they incorporated like the old Universal logo, the really really old one, the
Yeah.
yeah, and lots of old logos, and then like production companies that aren't from that time, they actually created like 70-ish logos, like idents for them as well,
Yeah.
which I thought was really cool. But I thought, yeah, it was edited in a way where it's meant to be looking like a movie, where it's supposed to make you feel like it's like a lost film from the '70s, basically.
Yeah.
It was a really good movie and a really sweet story as well about a teacher and a student trying to getting along with each other and learning more about each other and learning and growing with each other, which was always quite nice, which is really nice to see. Paul Giamatti was really good in it as well.
Mm.
The I think one of the actors in it, let's see, Divine Joy Randolph actually won. I think she won an Oscar for her performance in The Holdovers, if I remember.
Yeah.
I think it was like maybe Best Supporting Actress. Well,
Uh,
I think it may have been one of those, but
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. That's what it says here.
Hmm. Um,
Absolutely.
but yeah, no, she was really good, and Poor Things' editing was also really good. Again, it matched with the more wacky kind of twisted nature of it as well, with with all the cool kind of funky kind of camera angles and
Mm.
quick little cuts here and there as well. Um, yeah, like those worked. But I mean, again, I'm sure Oppenheimer up one for a reason. I still need to see it. I need to see this movie, man.
Yeah,
It's
I watch
hearing
it.
people like
You can
hearing
get it on
people.
DVD now. That's how,
Yeah, yeah,
on DVD and Blu-ray at your local store that still sells those.
HMV. Yeah, that's still
That's
around.
right. That's right. Anyway, we'll skip over best documentary short film because I haven't watched any of them.
Yeah,
I can't really comment on any of them. Sorry to all the short filmmakers out there. It's not that we don't want to watch short films. It's just half the time I never know where to get them.
yeah,
So I do apologize.
yeah. Vimeo
But
day,
we'll
I think.
briefly talk about best documentary feature film, which was obviously won by 20 Days in Mariupol,
Mm,
which is a film about the Russian-Ukrainian conflict. I mean,
yeah,
yeah, I mean, it is from the stuff that I've seen of it. I've not watched the whole film, but from the stuff I've seen of it, a very good, harrowing take on like what is happening in the country like Ukraine, which is being
mm,
decimated by Russia, and like
yeah,
especially Mariupol in particular has been absolutely destroyed. I mean, it's a film that has like done a really good job of like just showing the very bluntness and bleakness that comes with war.
yeah,
And yeah, I mean, as a result of that, I can understand why it won. And considering how America in general is very anti-Russia,
mm,
and you know very pro-Ukraine, because obviously they're a country that are very close knit together, and obviously they also buy their weapons. So I
mm,
completely understand why it's won the award, but it's also a very good film as well from what I've seen. So yeah,
mm,
um, the other films as well. Bobby Wine, the People's President, looks really good as well. I would
yeah,
probably give that one a watch. We're following like a musician and politician who's like fighting against an autocratic leader in the country that they're from, in Uganda. That's it, yeah. And
yeah,
it's just like that idea of like a character who's taking on an authoritarian regime through his own like charisma and like the power of music, as it were, is also a fantastic looks like a fantastic film. So
yeah,
I think we couldn't have gone wrong anywhere with these films, as
yeah,
usually is with these types of documentary feature films. But hey,
mm,
that's it.
yeah. I mean,
So, oh,
I'm not
sorry.
I'm not actually the biggest documentary guy. I can't lie to you, but
Yeah.
I'm sure all these movies are fantastic in their own right.
Yeah, I mean, I don't watch a lot of documentaries, but I usually try to watch like a couple every now and again, just because
Yeah,
I find them very interesting to watch. And
yeah,
I think you get exposed to a perspective that's like more, you know, is more, it broadens your horizons a little bit, so that you're more aware of like how people actually are in the world, rather than relying on everything through fiction.
exactly. Yeah,
So I've already talked about these films a lot, but best costume design was also won by Poor Things.
yeah, yeah, and then
So
best.
it's clear that Poor Things is definitely being rewarded for its aesthetics, at the
Yeah,
very least, which is fine.
mm,
Um, I think that's fair enough, considering that a lot of these other films relied on more historical
yeah,
stuff, which is a little boring. It's like it's not necessarily difficult to do that, to create costumes that are being to invoke a feeling, or to match with like a specific type of theme is I think is way more interesting in the long run.
Mm.
But yeah, now we'll move on to one of the big ones now, best cinematography.
Ooh, yeah. I mean, Poor
Can
Things
you get
cinematography.
can you guess who won?
Was it Oppenheimer?
Yes,
Was it
it was.
Oppenheimer?
Funny enough.
Yeah. Wow, wow, wow! I can't
I
believe that.
mean, Oppenheimer was a very good looking film.
Mm.
And as always with Christopher Nolan, his use of film is obviously like something that is still like talked about to this day. It's been like wow, that's amazing that he still does that. But I want to give a quick shout out to El Conde, which is one of the films that followed it. You can watch this film on Netflix, by the way, guys.
Oh, nice.
Which is a, Spanish film about. Oh, sorry, is it Chilean? It might be Chilean actually. Film about. It's like a satirical film about vampires, um, and it looks incredible. Right, that you can say what you want about the story and stuff like that, which I can understand some people being a bit turned off by because it's not for everyone. But the
Yeah.
cinematography is beautiful in that film. I would have been happy if that won
Mm.
best cinematography
Yeah.
because it's all shot in black and white and it's got these very striking, beautiful visuals and he does a really good job of playing with shadows and like the lighting in it in particular is incredible. Why is there no category for best lighting?
No
That's
idea.
like such a good fucking essential part of filmmaking that they don't recognize and it fucking annoys me, but it's fine. Um, and yeah, Killers of the Flower Moon look great as well. I mean, it's Martin Scorsese. You usually can't go wrong with him. So,
Martin Scorsese, yeah, his cinematography is always good. Even no matter what film it is, it's always going to be good. I remember watching trailers for what was it? What was the family movie that he did? Hugo, that was it. And like
oh yeah,
the shots in those just look absolutely gorgeous, and just absolutely gorgeous. But obviously, yeah, I'm not surprised. But Oppenheimer won. Paul Feig's cinematography is really great, really beautiful. But obviously, Christopher Nolan, he's got a knack for cinematography and using
hmm
and just with lighting and lighting and color and everything like that. He's just got a really great.
I mean, yeah, it was a great looking film. It can't be denied.
Like his
Cannot be
movies
denied.
just look no matter what, you can say what you want about his movies, but at least the one thing you can consistently say they look fantastic.
He works
Especially
hard. He works hard for it. I'll give him that.
yeah,
There's a lot of Christopher Nolan films I'm not really the biggest fan of, but he
yeah,
works hard on his films, and I appreciate that.
yeah,
And
no,
Oppenheimer
really does, yeah,
was definitely one of the best films he's done in a while. It
yeah,
has to be said.
mm,
Okay, then we'll move on to best original screenplay, which
yeah.
was won by Anatomy of a Fall.
I've not seen this one. I don't know about you.
Neither have I. I actually can't remember what this film's about.
I think it's
Oh,
supposed.
this is that.
Yeah,
Yes, it's a legal drama, isn't it? Yes, this seems familiar now. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah, cool. I mean, yeah. I mean, fantastic. I'm glad it won.
mm,
It's always
uh,
nice to see. It's always nice to see films like that, like international films winning stuff that isn't just the International Film Award.
yeah, exactly.
You
Yeah,
know, like going into broader broader categories in general, because that's something that's the Academy struggled with for a very long time until
mm,
recently.
yeah,
Um, and I'm okay with that. I mean, yeah, I'm sure the whole. I mean, you've seen the holdovers, obviously.
yeah.
Like, do you feel like that could have something that could have been one best original screenplay?
The holdovers, yeah, the script holdovers is really good and very well written and everything like and all that stuff. It's the dialogue between the characters. Or always the dialogue between the characters is very unique and very interesting. It's always because obviously Paul Giamatti and the actor that plays the student, I can't remember his name, but they work off well with each other. Dominic Caesar, I think that's his name. Yeah, they work off very well with each other and everything like that. And
hmm
they obviously there's some good jokes in there as well. And it's it's a very lovely story about this teacher and student to create this bond with each other because obviously the whole movie is about set in this all boys school and then um, they have to go home for the holidays, but sometimes some students can't go home for Christmas, so they have to stay over at the school during Christmas. And this kid who's played by Dominic Caesar, he's a Dominic Sessa. He's one of the students who ends up getting left behind, and him and Paul Giamatti's character ends up creating a nice friendship between the two of them, which is very unexpected, but they
Well, there
create
you
it's a
go.
good bonding. It's a good bonding experience, really, and it's a very lovely movie and a very well written film. But I'm sure Tony a Fall, probably did. I'm sure that deserved it, but I'm sure the holdovers could have easily won that easily. But I've not seen any of the other movies too, so maybe Past Lives could have won it. Maybe
Yeah,
May December
absolutely.
could have won. you can't really tell unless you've seen all the movies, which is just impossible to see every every film.
Mm.
Mm,
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. All right. Yeah. Cool. That sounds good to me. I
yeah,
unfortunately haven't watched any of these films, so sorry guys. I can't comment on which one's the best original screenplay. We'll just have to say it's
yeah,
Anatomy of the Fall for
yeah. Just
now
say now
until I
with the
watch
thoughts.
more.
It's fine.
But
Uh,
that's fine. We'll move over to best adapted screenplay.
mm,
And now the film that won this is American Fiction.
This is a movie
Uh,
I wanted to see this movie so badly, but I just didn't get around to seeing it.
yeah, yeah. I was very interested by the premise in general, which a film about like this black writer writing like the most stereotypical, you
Yeah,
know, the most stereotypical black book for lack of a better word,
yeah,
and then being catapulted into fame after having spent an entire life of not really having succeeded as a writer and having to deal with the fact that does he want the success at the risk of throwing his people underneath the bus, or does he want to?
mm,
Does he go like, "What is this? Is this the right thing to do?" You know what
yeah,
I mean? Is it my is the reason why I've not been successful because of my own inadequacies, or is it because of the society that we live in, which
yeah,
doesn't really recognize black talent? Which
yeah,
yeah, is a fair message to make.
mm,
I've not seen the film unfortunately, but
yeah. Same.
we talk about best adapted screenplay. I feel like when you look at things like, say, Barbie and Oppenheimer,
And poor thing,
um,
zone of interest as well.
yeah, I mean, Zone of Interest is based off of a book, so that's fair
Yeah.
enough. But with
Poor,
Barbie and Oppenheimer, I'm a little bit more sort of like, I don't really feel like these should have made the
mm.
list, in
Well,
my opinion.
I think Oppenheimer was based on a book, and Poor Things as well was also based on a book.
Yeah, that's
Um,
fair, but Barbie's not based off of a book.
oh no, it's
Barbie's a
well,
product.
Bobby's based on a
And
book actually.
Oppenheimer as well. I know Christopher Nolan read, but he read multiple books about Oppenheimer to get the picture of
Mm.
the character. He was making a
Yeah,
biopic. Like
yeah,
you don't base a biopic off of one book or one account. You have to read multiple books. That's why I feel like
mm,
calling it an adapted screenplay is not right.
yeah.
It still has a story in it. You know what I mean? He wrote whoever wrote the script. I don't think Christopher Nolan wrote Oppenheimer.
I don't think he.
I don't think he did. Did he?
I think his brother could have. Maybe his brother could have done it because
Let's.
I know his brother's a screenwriter.
Oh, sorry, I don't mean as in the
Oh no,
actual
he
man.
did write it. Yeah,
Oh, well, there you
yeah,
go.
yeah,
Yeah,
bro, yeah,
he will have had to he will have had to written a script, a wrote a script. Sorry,
yeah,
God, English is bad today. Where he will have had to, actually create a story based on the information presented. So there's a chance that a lot of it's not in the right order. Some things that may have
mm,
happened at one stage
yeah,
might have happened later or earlier. Like that is very possible with
yeah,
with that film. He still had to create a cohesive narrative. So
yeah,
it's like there's no playbook for him to brace that off of because it's based on a real person. So I think calling it a best adapted screenplay is not accurate.
yeah.
But it is what it is, and at least he didn't win it. So, I think if Oppenheimer had won that, I would have been a bit like, nah, I just don't feel like that's right. Same with Barbie, to be honest with you. As much as,
Yeah,
Barbie probably deserved to win something a bit more,
yeah,
um,
uh,
you know,
yeah. Bit more meaty.
yeah, sorry,
Bit,
guys, we're feminists. We like Barbie more than it. Barbie should have won all the awards, okay?
I wish I won all the awards, mate. Even
It should
best
have won
animated
all
feature.
of them. Yeah, but no, that's
Yeah,
fine. We'll move on. Um, yeah, I mean that seems fine. I mean we've talked about pretty much all the other nominees anyway, and they're all good
yeah,
films. So I feel like the film that won was probably the one that was most likely to win out of those four, considering the rest of them have
mm,
won some award in some capacity, apart from
yeah,
Barbie, maybe not really getting as much as it deserved, but that's fair enough. So yeah.
mm,
Um, Now the next one of the big ones of the night was Best Animated Feature.
yeah. I've got a bone to pick with the Academy on this. Uh,
Oh, I have a feeling you.
yeah,
Well, did you want Spider Man to win, or was it Nimoni?
uh,
Nimoni you wanted to win.
I cannot believe that the Super Mario Bros. Movie was not nominated
Oh, right.
for the Academy.
Yeah, I mean,
I cannot
I'm
believe
going to be
this.
honest with you. I agree with the Academy on this one. I enjoyed the Super Mario Brothers film. I do not think it should be Best Animated
Yeah,
Feature.
I'm being facetious,
You're being
obviously.
facetious, of
Yeah,
course you
I'm
are.
being facetious.
I'm going to have to side with the Academy on this one,
Yeah,
which is a
yeah.
sentence I thought I'd never say, but here we
I,
are.
I love this Mario Bros. Movie, but maybe next time have a story. Have a story next time. It's just
Yeah, I think the Boy and the Heron. It
yeah,
makes sense
mm,
to win because if I remember correctly, did Let me have a look. Actually, Spider-Man
The last Spider-Verse movie won the Oscar.
into
Yeah,
yeah, it did, didn't it? Yeah,
yeah, it
I
did. Yeah,
remember that happening, and then um, obviously Nimona was good, but I've watched
yeah,
Nimona, by the way. I forgot to tell you that.
nice. No, that's
Um,
good. Yeah,
it was a really good film, but I
yeah,
think it was hampered by a lot of backstage and by a lot of behind the scenes interference from what I've looked up.
yeah.
Elemental was dog shit. I did not
Wow.
like it. It was really, I just really, just generally didn't like it. I thought it was the most basic by the numbers thing I've ever seen in my entire like from Pixar. It just feels like that they're just doing the same thing over and over again now, and I'm not. I don't think it deserves to win an Academy Award for that. Being blunt,
Mm.
um, Robot Dreams hasn't come out, and I think it's just come out in the UK, so I haven't watched it yet. But that does look pretty good. I might
What
give
is
that a
Robot
watch.
Dreams?
As far as I can tell, it's a film about a dog that builds a robot and they become best friends. So,
Oh wow, that's a
sounds
cool,
fantastic. Sounds like one of
cool
the best
idea.
films ever made.
That's a cool idea. What's interesting is I've seen majority of these except for Robot Dreams and Boy and the Heron. So
Yeah,
Elemental, I really did. Elemental, I liked. I thought it was fine enough. I'm not surprised because Pixar always gets nominated for this category regardless.
and they
So,
didn't put Puss in Boots in there from
oh,
last year.
they did. No, they didn't, did they?
If
Where's Puss in
someone
Boots
look,
nominated?
listen, if I could choose one film to be removed from there, it would be Elemental, and I would have
Yeah,
Puss in Boots in there instead.
hmm,
I know it wouldn't have won, but I would have preferred
yeah,
that to be part of the shortlist. I think the only reason why they did it is because it was the only film attached to Disney
yeah,
that has, But if Disney
yeah,
wants to win awards, they should just, make better
yeah.
films. So there you go.
I was surprised. I was surprised when Nimona was not in the got nominated. To be honest, because I didn't think I didn't. I loved the movie. Don't get me wrong. It was one of the biggest surprises from last year. To be honest, but just like when I saw it in the car, I was like, wow. Like, I just didn't think it would get nominated. It was one of
Yeah.
those. It was a wild
It
card.
feels like the
Wild
best
card.
kind of non-field. That and Robot
Yeah,
Dreams were the two like sort of like dark horse ones
yeah,
they picked, where they go, oh yeah.
yeah,
And Nimona is very clearly a film about like gender identity.
mm,
So I'm
yeah,
thinking from like the angle of virtue signaling as well, which is very common in the academy.
yeah,
Like it makes sense to pick that film. But I haven't talked about the winner. Sorry,
yeah,
because I've seen The Boy and the Heron,
mm,
and yeah, I mean, out of the two that I would have picked out of this between that and Spider Man, as much as I did enjoy Spider Man Across the Spider Verse, I think The Boy
yeah,
and the Heron is is the better film.
yeah,
And I think the as always with Miyazaki, the talent and the effort and the just the attention to detail that happens in his films just pushes The Boy and the Heron that little bit over the finish line for me.
yeah.
As much as I
Like,
didn't very much enjoy Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse, and that
oh,
was also a great
100%.
film full of,
It's such a great film. Yeah,
worked so hard on it, the
yeah,
people who worked on it. I just think The Boy and the Heron, especially because it's Miyazaki's last film, in quotation marks. He said that
yeah,
like 3 times.
yeah,
So, I'll believe it when it fucking happens. I'll believe it when he's dead. That's when
mm,
I'll believe it. If he's
yeah,
like, this is my last film, and then he drops dead the next day, then I'll believe it. Until then, I'm not believing it.
yeah.
But yeah.
Uh, I feel so, yeah. Sony's probably really kicking themselves right now. First you got Madam Web, which was garbage and not doing very well at the box office, and now you have Spider-Man Across the Spider-Verse not
They
winning the
made fun
Oscar.
of that film at
Yeah,
the Oscars.
yeah. Well, they did. They did. They really.
Yeah, it was what was his name again? John something beginning with M. He made a joke about how he wished that there was he made a joke about silent film, and then he got into a thing about like, oh, but we wouldn't have such amazing lines like this and this, and then he made the line about like my father was in the jungle studying spiders when he died or whatever it is, that fucking terrible line from the trailer, and I was like,
That's funny.
damn son,
That is funny.
like,
I'll give him that. That is funny.
and I was like,
Uh,
damn son, like, I
yeah,
mean, fair play. I mean, that film was fucking dreadful from what I've seen of it.
I've not seen it, but I don't want to
I've
see
not
it.
seen it either, but I've seen a little. I've seen enough of it to know that watching that film will actually give
Yeah,
me a brain aneurysm and I will die.
yeah. I say just no more Spider-Man spin-offs unless it's animated. Then yeah. But yeah, let's probably move on to best directing because that's probably
Yeah,
one of the big ones
one of the big ones.
where
Best director of the
the
night,
Leonardo, the Leonardo DiCaprio of the directing world finally got his Oscar. Finally got his
the
Oscar.
Leonardo DiCaprio of the directing world. Oh, because he's never won an Oscar. Yes,
Oh,
of
no,
course.
yeah,
I keep forgetting Christopher Nolan's never won a director. Yeah, there's two kind of things I want to bring up with this. One, I am actually glad Christopher Nolan won this one. I think that was a decent That was a decent
Yeah,
pick. I
yeah,
mean, I've
yeah,
not seen the other two films that I really want to watch on this list, Poor Things and Zone of Interest. I will want to watch first before I make an opinion on whether they deserved it more.
yeah,
But as much as I did like Killers of the Flower Moon, Martin Scorsese at this stage, I mean, come on,
yeah,
like he's had so many shots at the Academy and he's won his awards. I think it's fair at this stage in the game to give it to Christopher Nolan.
yeah,
You know what
exactly.
I mean?
I mean, Chris Nolan's been. I feel like he's been gunning for an Oscar for his entire career. I feel
Yeah.
like this has been the thing that he's been building towards, and now he's finally gotten what he's always wanted. I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to pump out next because I feel like he's got his Oscar now, and he's like, right, let's do, let's just do what he wants. I'm just looking forward to seeing what he does next. Really, I mean,
Yeah. I mean, he put the effort in.
yeah,
Like that's evident. Like
yeah,
there's things I don't like about Oppenheimer, but you can tell the effort's
yeah,
there, and like the passion in the filmmaking is there
yeah,
from everyone, not just Christopher Nolan, but from the actors and like everything. So it's like it's fair enough to me. Where it's like, yeah, all
yeah.
right.
Well,
Um,
I think
sorry,
with,
go on.
I think with him is like he always puts effort into his projects, even the ones that maybe
Even the
people.
ones that are shit.
Yeah,
Like
I mean,
fair
like,
enough.
well,
Yeah.
like, even like say Dark Knight Rises, for example, which a lot of people do not like. There's
I mean,
still
I
a
don't
great
think
deal
it's
of
that
effort.
bad. I think
Yeah.
Tenet's worse than that.
Oh,
Tenet, I
really?
tried to watch and I was like, this is just fucking. Because he tried to be a little bit like Memento was, in Inception, where it's like, oh, it's confused. I mean, I'm not the biggest fan of Inception, by the way. That's kind
Yeah.
of that's my hot take
Yeah.
of the day. I think my problem with Inception is that everybody talks about it like, oh my god, it's this amazing film with all this stuff in it, and then I'm like, yeah, can you name me a character? And like, that isn't Dominic, the main character.
Yeah.
Can you name me the characters' names? And then a lot of them go, no, I can't. There are the odd people who can
Yeah.
do it, don't get me wrong,
Yeah.
but majority of people go, no. And I'm like, well, there you go. Like,
Yeah.
to me, that's not a good film. Like, if you can't even remember the characters' fucking names,
Yeah.
what's the
You,
point?
you
Um,
couldn't even barely hear him in that movie because of the sound issues.
yeah, that as well. Um, yeah, I mean, I suppose the other thing I want to big up about Best Director, we have to talk about the big controversy, which is that Barbie
Didn't get no. Yeah, Greg
didn't
Gerwig
get
didn't get it.
nominated for Best
Didn't get it.
Directing.
I think she should have been nominated. She should have been at least nominated because I think like the first thing like she's been nominated and she was nominated before in this category.
Mm,
I think for Little Women, if I remember, it was
yeah,
either that or Lady
Greta
Bird.
Gerwig, yeah,
Yeah,
specifically.
specifically, yeah, she was nominated for best directing. Um, for like it was either Little Women or Lady Bird, and like movies that people not a lot of people saw, a lot of people didn't really know about. I didn't know about Lady Bird until one of my siblings brought it for me on Blu-ray for
Mm,
Christmas in the year, but I think back in 2019 actually. Yeah, it was 2019, but then suddenly she makes this big epic movie and it's like it's the most high, it makes so much money, it's the highest grossing movie of 2023 and doesn't even
mm,
doesn't even get this like I'll say this much: Margot Robbie not getting nominated for best actress. I do not care that I do not really give a shit about that, to be honest. Greg Gerwig not getting nominated for best directing for Barbie, I
mhm,
do give a shit about because I think
fair
she
enough.
deserved it. She deserved it to at least get nominated. Even to win, I'm not sure, but to at least be in the same category as these other directors, I think she definitely deserved it. Maybe that would have meant one of them would have had to have gone. But again, like you said, I would have
Yeah.
removed maybe even maybe Martin Scorsese because like again he's had his time. He's had his time to shine. He's won his awards
I
and stuff like
mean,
that. But
I
I don't know.
I'm in a little bit of a different boat than you on the best directing, if I'm being honest with you.
That's okay.
As much as I did enjoy Barbie, I do think it's a great film, or a
Mm.
good film, sorry.
Yeah,
Um, I don't know, I just felt like this year was so stacked. You
yeah,
know what I mean? With like, great films that really did. 2023 in general was a year for really good films,
yeah,
both like big budget films and small films. It really was a stacked year, and I think with Barbie, I don't know. I just something about it where I felt like it was a very strange film. It was different from everything else, and I don't really feel like,
yeah,
to me, the directing was like the big thing about it. It was more so the marketing behind it. The writing was really solid as well. That was a big part of it. Barbie winning like best screenplay, I would have been happy with
yeah,
to an extent. I don't know. It's something about it where I just don't really feel like, oh yeah, best director Barbie. It
yeah,
doesn't sit well. It will not sit well. It just doesn't feel right. You know what I mean? So I can
yeah,
kind of understand it a little bit. I mean, and I do feel sorry for the people who really enjoyed the film and wanted to see it more represented in the Oscars. But I mean, come on,
yeah.
man. the Academy's always been terrible for like representation and in any
Oh yeah,
form that
yeah,
isn't like with the in the year that Oppenheimer came out, it was never going to happen. Like
you were,
Oppenheimer was like I was like right, this film's going to win Best Director at the very least, and then
yeah,
like Best Actor probably for Cillian Murphy, which we'll get to eventually. Yeah, I don't know. It's hard to explain really. I just had a gut
yeah,
feeling about it where it's like no, Barbie definitely deserved more.
yeah,
Like definitely I could see it like for production design and like even costume design and stuff, and even for best actress, I could have even seen
yeah,
Margot Robbie winning that to an extent.
mm,
I mean, she wouldn't have, but
yeah,
I don't know. It's kind of hard to explain. I just feel like with the directing, like you had better directors there who were making more interesting films, and I feel like they were the ones that were chosen.
mm,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
There's a thing about playing to the crowd of people. Like, yeah, Barbie was the most profitable film last year by quite a lot. I mean, it's incredible. I mean, it beat the Mario Brothers movie, which is insane. It
yeah,
just goes to show that, like, a well written, smart, funny film can be
yeah,
a big success. It doesn't
yeah,
have to be all based. I mean, obviously, I know Barbie's based on a product, but it's more than that. You know what I
mm,
mean in the long run. So yeah, it's a weird one, and I feel
yeah.
like Barbie. I don't feel like any of the people are suffering for not
No,
getting nominated.
oh
You
no,
know what
no,
I mean?
I doubt Greg Oaks. I doubt Greg Oaks like
Or
crying.
Margot Robbie because she's a
On
producer
it.
on the film,
Yeah,
so she would have made a fucking mint on that.
yeah,
You know
exactly,
what I mean?
exactly. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think anyone's really that bothered about it. I think,
No. I mean, people on Twitter are
yeah,
bothered about it, but that's
yeah,
just Twitter.
that's
You
just
know what
true.
I mean? They're always bothered about something.
That's why I'm not on Twitter. I'm on Threads though, so follow me in the link in
If you
the
if you want
below.
to if you post a picture on Threads, that's how it
Uh,
works, right?
yeah, I mean, I usually post podcast links on there. On that thing.
What? Podcasts such as this one?
Yeah,
What?
yeah, yeah, yeah. It's like you got it's promote, you got to promote your
Yeah.
work. Yeah,
Yeah.
promote
Yeah.
your work.
All right.
Uh,
I think we've
yeah,
put these pesky directors in their place. It's time to move on to Best Actress in a Supporting Role.
mm.
Boom. This was
uh,
won by Divine Joy Randolph for The
yeah,
Holdovers.
yeah. And she was very good in it.
Hmm.
Her character is that so Hold of Us basically, like I said, it takes place over the Christmas break and everything. And it does focus on these three characters, and she's one of the three characters. She's actually one of the canteen ladies in the school. And you find out later on that her son was actually was a student at the school, but he passed away. She lost her husband, she lost her son, and they've both passed away. Um, I can't remember the exact details of her son's death. I think he may have been like, I think it was like a war or something like that.
Uh-huh.
But yes, so her son's passed away. And and she's able to she's able to convey that kind of emotion and that kind of pain and suffering um that her that she's going through right now.
Mhm.
It's the Vietnam War, by the way. That he was drafted in the Vietnam War.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah.
It's about the
So
right time, yeah. Well,
yeah.
yeah, fair enough. I mean,
Um, and yeah, there's one great scene as well. They're at a party. Someone's invited them to a Christmas party, and then she just starts slowly breaking down in tears and everything like that.
mm,
And I think there's one other good scene where she says, my baby," talking about her husband, passed away before he turned 20, and then my baby talking about her son also passed away before he turned 20, and
yeah.
she's still thinking about she's still here. And yeah, it was a great performance by her. I was shocked. I was shocked that she won though. I genuinely thought America Ferrera had it in the bag, to be honest.
Mm.
But I mean, I don't know.
I
Maybe,
mean, I
yeah,
mean,
it was a shock, but I'm glad she won.
yeah. If I was going for someone other than the winner, I
Yeah,
definitely wouldn't have gone for America Ferrera. As much as I did enjoy the Barbie film, I don't think she was like a standout performance, really. To be honest with you,
yeah,
I feel like Emily Blunt in Oppenheimer, for instance, was way better.
mm,
Like she was great in that film. She just played that character really well, and like
yeah,
she really had a great chemistry with Cillian Murphy as well. Obviously playing his wife, so
mm,
that's good. It's good to have that. Um,
yeah.
and the other ones, I'm not 100% sure, like The Color Purple and stuff like that. Like I didn't watch that film, so I'm not
Same.
sure.
I
Not
don't even
sure
know.
really what would be
I don't
with
even
that.
know. I don't even know what it's about. The color purple.
Well, it's about there's this color.
Yeah.
It's called purple.
Oh right. Oh, damn.
Damn.
Oh, that's no. I've got up here. It's a coming of age musical period drama piece.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah, about these three women of color. I think so.
Oh, I see.
That's an interesting
It's
one.
a little punny title. Cool.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah,
and I haven't watched Naiad either.
yeah. Same.
Um, but it doesn't seem like a film that would really interest me, to be honest with you. Sorry,
Mm,
if you watched it and you really liked it. It's nothing
yeah.
personal. It's just me, how I
Uh,
personally feel. Sorry. But
no, it's
yeah,
alright.
yeah, no, I mean, fantastic. I think there was some good nominees here, and it's like, yeah,
Yeah.
it's good to it's good that there were that a winner was chosen,
Mm,
which is obviously the point of it. And
yeah.
yeah, I mean, fantastic. So I
Mm.
suppose we should now move on to best actress in a leading role,
Leading role, and that
which
was
of
it was
course
went to Emma Stone.
Emma Stone, indeed, for Poor Things.
I was shocked again that she won.
Yeah,
Not that,
I thought Lily Gladstone had that one. I really
yeah.
did.
I mean,
I mean, she was fantastic in Killers of the Flower Moon. I genuinely
mm,
thought I was like, "Now that feels like it's going to go to her." When I was looking at it, I was like, "Oh, surely it's Lily Gladstone," and then it was like, "Oh no, Emma Stone." Fuck.
yeah, yeah. It was interesting. One, there were two stones, and one of the stones won.
That's
I
right.
guess.
You know what they say about
Uh,
killing two birds with one
yeah,
stone.
yeah. But I mean, I've not obviously not seen Killers of the Flower Moon, so I've got no clue. If it was how I don't well, I
She
don't
was
know how.
she was great, Lily Gladstone, in that. She was
Really.
really, really good. She was definitely the one of the best performances in that film. Probably even
Yeah,
better than Leonardo DiCaprio, to be honest with you.
fair enough. Fair enough. But yeah, and obviously, I think even Emma Stone herself was shocked that she won. I think,
Yeah.
yeah,
I
because
mean, Poor
yeah,
Things in general winning the awards it did. I think a lot of people were quite shocked about that because it is a very out there film
yeah.
from what I've heard of.
Probably, yeah. It's a great performance. Don't get me wrong; she was a great performance, but
Yeah.
it was definitely not that she didn't deserve to win, but it was just one of those things where I was like, "Oh, really? That's the one you chose?" Oh, it was just one of those things where it was a bit like, "Oh, I didn't expect. I just didn't expect it at all." Like,
No, yeah, yeah. It
it,
happens sometimes, yeah.
and she's it's a second Oscar now, and her
Yeah,
speech,
yeah, it is
speech was
actually. Yeah,
really
you're right.
good. Her speech was really good, though. I loved her Oscar speech and how,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
yeah,
Emma Stone seems like a really nice person, so
yeah.
I think her speech was really good. Yeah,
Yeah, and yeah, how she was like thanking, how she actually like acknowledged all of the crew members and all of
yeah.
the.
She
It was
that's
like,
what I prefer with
yeah,
my speeches.
yeah,
I hated the fucking Joaquin Phoenix one during when he won for Joker. I thought that was so condescending. And I was just
which,
like, "Fuck off, man!" Like,
which
just go up on the stage and say, "I'm really glad I made this film. That big thanks to the crew and all the people working on it. You are
yeah,
fantastic. I'm gonna leave now. Goodbye." That's the best kind of thing I like.
yeah,
Same thing when the director of Parasite won, his award for best director
yeah,
for that
exactly,
film. I love the fact he just came out on stage and said, "Oh my god, I'm just so happy that I got to come out here see all these great filmmakers that I love. I love film so
mm,
much. Goodbye." Like that's the
yeah,
kind of speech I want. I don't want a speech. I don't want to go up, celebrities to go up stage and then just be like, "Oh yeah, you're bad for doing this thing." And it's like, cool, sick, thank you, bless you.
thank you.
You've been
Yeah,
virtually blessed. Yeah, yeah, Emma Stone. Congratulations, I guess, if you're
yeah,
listening to this.
yeah. Congratulations, congratulations, Gwen Stacy.
Congratulations. But we're
Yeah,
moving on. We're moving on to the best actor in a supporting role.
yeah. Robert Downey Jr.
Robert
He
Downey
won.
Jr. for his. I think it's his first Oscar as well, isn't it?
Yeah, this is his first Oscar win as
Yeah,
well. Yeah.
yeah. I mean, any comments on that?
I mean, because I've not seen Oppenheimer, but
Yeah.
I mean, it must have been one hell of a performance if he was able to win. If he was able to win
I
this.
mean, yeah, I think he played Louis Strauss very well. He played that character really well.
Yeah,
I think him winning that specifically isn't necessarily just down to his acting ability. I also think it's because of just the fact that Oppenheimer was like so beloved by just about everybody, and I think
yeah,
the Academy was reluctant to give anything to Ryan Gosling for Barbie, considering that Barbie pretty much got nothing.
yeah,
And he's a man. I think if he got that, and I mean, not to discredit Ryan Gosling's acting ability, he was fantastic, but you know, I think they were reluctant to do that. And then Robert De Niro in Killers of the Flower Moon, same thing.
yeah,
I think it's just because Martin Scorsese films are kind of out of fashion now a little bit, and
yeah.
American Fiction I didn't watch, and then I don't know what was Mark Ruffalo like in Poor Things. Was he good?
He was funny. He was really funny, to be fair.
Yeah,
I thought it was hilarious.
yeah,
Like, it was very campy, very over the top. Yeah, he was definitely a very good. He was very good. He was very good in the role. I didn't think he did. Obviously, I didn't think he was going to win. But yeah, I'm sure there was a reason why Robert Downey Jr. won. That's why I need to watch the movie and find out.
Yeah, I mean, he was really good in it. I mean, everybody was really good in. I don't think there was really a bad actor in Oppenheimer, as far as I'm
Oh God,
aware of.
no, everyone.
It was a really solidly
Yeah,
made film, so it's not surprising.
I think
Um,
everyone played their part well. From
yeah.
what I've heard, everyone's played their
Oh,
part well
yeah,
in the
yeah.
movie. Yeah,
I think it's just one of those films that's come along where it's just like it makes sense for it to sweep the Oscars because it is just
yeah,
like such a
yeah,
well-made film
yeah,
that I understand why it's won. And the thing is, we should probably point out that like the Oscars aren't the be all and the end all in terms of film,
yeah.
in terms of film awards
Oh
and like
yeah,
film criticism.
like
These
it.
films that have won these awards aren't necessarily the best films ever made. It should be
No,
pointed out.
exactly. Yeah, there's always loads of Oscar movies who won loads of Oscars and everything. Like Slumdog Millionaire, for example, won a ton of Oscars, and there's a big huge crowd of people who do not like that
No,
movie
no.
very much.
And that's fair enough, yeah.
That's fair
But
enough. Yeah,
also as well, there's things like Cannes and then there's Palme d'Or and stuff like that. There's like loads of other film awards out there
yeah,
that are even more respected potentially in the industry. But the Oscars is like this thing that's become the thing, the film,
mm,
the sort of the poor man's sort of film sort of grading scale, where it's
yeah,
like, well, it won all these Oscars, that must mean it's really good, and it's like, nah, depends. And then there's BAFTAs as well. I mean, the
yeah.
BAFTAs were pretty different from, the winners in that were pretty different from the Oscars this year. So like, yeah.
Yeah, no, I get that. Yeah, I mean, I didn't watch the BAFTAs, but I've heard pretty good things about it.
Yeah, it was a little different, but a lot of the
Yeah,
nominees were the same. So like,
yeah,
you can kind
yeah.
of picture how it went. Um, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, I've got nothing more really to say about Robert Downey Jr. He wasn't in the film that much, but he was great in it. So like, to say that he did that with like so little, you know,
Mm.
so
Yeah,
little presence in the film, I
yeah,
think is pretty good. Yeah.
yeah. I love his speech as well. He was like, "I like to thank my terrible childhood and
Yeah, 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 yeah.
my agent in that order."
Yeah, yeah.
um,
He's a funny guy, Robert Downey. He's a man who has gone through a lot in his life and has bounced
oh yeah,
back and has come to terms
yeah,
with the horrible things that happened to him. So for that, I really respect him.
oh yeah. I
And
mean,
now look at him; he's won an
yeah,
Oscar. I mean, it's great. It's
he's
great
won an Oscar. He's like one of the highest paid actors in the world. He's got who wouldn't want to be Robert Downey Jr. Like he's
Yeah,
got a pretty good life right now. So
for the
yeah,
time being, yeah, that's fine.
yeah,
But we're nearly at the end now, so of
yeah,
course it's time for Best Actor in a Leading Role. Can you
yeah.
guess? Can you guess who won it?
Paul Giamatti for the whole. No, I'm joking. Obviously it's going to be Cillian Murphy. Like it has
It's
to be.
Cillian Murphy for
Had to be.
Oppenheimer.
Had to be.
And
Uh,
yeah, I mean, I can considering looking at some of the other ones that were picked for best actor in a leading role, I
mm,
think it was the right choice for this one. Absolutely,
oh yeah,
he was brilliant in the film. He's a brilliant actor in general, Killian Murphy, and I think him winning an
yeah,
Oscar as well. Like once again, it was his time. I think that's what made Oppenheimer win a lot of awards. Is it was just the right time for a lot of these actors.
yeah,
And like a lot of the people involved in it, it was like, no, these people have worked in the industry for years. It's time for them to like, have their moment in the spotlight.
yeah. Exactly. Yeah. I mean, a lot of these actors are, like Bradley Cooper, for example. I didn't even know he did a movie this year that
Yeah,
got
I'm not
nominated.
sure. Yeah, I don't think a lot of people watch it to be honest with you,
Yeah.
because I
But
haven't heard a lot of people talk about it. But I mean, hey,
yeah.
it
I
is what
mean,
it
Paul
is.
Giamatti. Sorry.
No, it's fine.
Paul Giamatti as well for the holdovers. He was really good. It was fantastic in that movie, but um, playing a teacher with a bit of a more rebel streak than you wouldn't think he had. But again, like it's I mean Cillian Murphy is just a great actor in general. I mean I've seen him in other stuff as well, like Peaky Blinders and everything like that as well. Like we've all seen the clip of the no fighting. Um, but I think in other stuff as well. Like he's just a great actor. And I think it was a long time coming for him to get the recognition he deserved. And he just seems like a really nice guy as well in real life. He's not on. He was asked why he's not on social media. And he's just like, yeah, I can't be asked with that. Like that's such a real genuine answer. And I think
Yeah,
yeah, and I think Emily Blunt was doing an interview for 60 Minutes, and she said that he's the best actor to work with, but the worst celebrity because he kind of just distanced himself from the celebrity culture. He doesn't really engage in that. He just kind of focuses on what he wants to do.
exactly. Yeah,
Um, and I think that's what makes him one of the best actors today. And let's be honest, after his Oscar win, I think all the major studios are calling up his agent to like get him in for a movie.
Oh, absolutely, yeah. I mean, he's always
Really,
been a prominent actor and worked a lot, but I think this is his
yeah,
first time really recognised as an actor.
yeah.
I also think isn't he the first Irish person to win Oscar for Best Leading Actor?
Um, not really sure, to be honest.
Let's have a look. Do-do-do, na-na-na, na-na-na-na, na-na-na-na. Let's have a look and see if anyone would. Nominated. What? I was going to say Daniel Day Lewis is Irish. Oh yes, he's English slash Irish.
Hmm,
So technically Daniel Day Lewis is the first Irish person
hmm.
to win Best Actor.
Yeah,
But I'm going to count Cillian Murphy as the first winner because he's full Irish.
nice,
So
nice. Yeah,
big win for the Irish. We're on your side, Ireland.
yeah. I also
We
quite like.
hope the unification goes really well this year, just like in
Yeah.
Star Trek.
Yeah. I went to Ireland recently, a couple
Yeah,
of
I was
weeks
going to
ago.
say. Well, I'll ask you a bit about that afterwards. But you did go
Yeah,
to Dublin recently, didn't you?
yeah, yeah. It was really lovely. Really lovely place. Crazy night out as well.
I
Can't
can
lie to
imagine.
you.
Yeah,
Partying with the Irish is
I'm
an
the
interesting.
Irishman. They know how to party.
Right, they know how to party. Yeah.
Yeah, indeed.
I also loved Cillian Murphy's speech. How he said, I've played, the man who created the atomic bomb. So I just want to say, respect to all the peacemakers out there. Obviously,
Yeah,
obviously acknowledging the war in Gaza and everything like that, and supporting a ceasefire and everything like that. Um, and yeah, like his speech was really lovely and everything. And yeah, I'm just happy. I'm happy he won it. Like, I'm just happy he won it. Really.
yeah,
Mm.
absolutely.
Yeah. And the last one.
Um, and then of course we're up to the big one now. The big award, Best Picture.
Ooh.
It's a single still image taken from each film,
Yeah.
and then you've got to rate which is the best picture.
All right.
And
Oppenheimer.
you'll never guess who won.
Was it Oppenheimer?
It was, you know what, Connor? You're pretty good at this. It was Oppenheimer. It won
Oh,
Best
damn
Picture.
me. Oh, damn me.
Damn.
Damn. I can't believe it. I can't believe it. What do I win?
You win a screening to go watch. I'm trying to think of a really bad film.
Madam Web.
Yeah, Madam Web. That's what you win.
Oh,
You get a free ticket to go watch Madam Web because just giving them out now. It's like,
yeah, yeah.
please watch it, please.
It's like, just watch this movie we made, which is really bad.
We worked so hard on it. No, you didn't. But yeah, I mean, surprise, surprise, it hits you between the eyes. I mean,
Yeah.
I think for a lot of the films on this list, it was probably. I think it's the one that makes the most sense
Hmm.
to win. I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
there's loads of great films on here. Like Zone of
yeah,
Interest, I would have been happy if it won. From what I've been hearing, Killers of the
yeah,
Flower Moon. Yeah, I
mm,
wouldn't have minded it. Barbie, even fuck it, why not?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, like
Poor Things, Holdovers as well. I would have. Any of these movies, really, if they won Best Picture, I would have been happy with. To be honest, like,
yeah, but I think with Oppenheimer, it just felt like the time. You know what I
yeah,
mean? It
it
felt
felt
like
right.
this is
Yeah,
like this big thing that's come out and like it's taken the world by storm.
yeah,
And
exactly. Yeah,
fantastic. It's won the awards. It was
yeah,
probably going to win the award, all the
yeah,
awards. I mean, I'm not surprised by it. Like when I woke
yeah,
up the day after the Oscars and then like read the news and being like Oppenheimer wins 7 awards. I wasn't like sitting there going, "Wow, that's
yeah.
like whoa,
Yeah,
no
I think
way." I was like, "Oh yeah,
we,
nah, that makes complete sense."
we all knew Oppenheimer was going to win like a ton of awards. Let's be honest. Like,
No, no,
it
no,
didn't
and
happen.
I'm just glad it was a film that deserved to win the awards because there's been times with the Oscars that have won, where a film's won so many awards and I've just gone, nah.
Mm,
What are they doing?
yeah,
The Academy is it just a slow
yeah,
year? Like, come on, man. It
yeah,
was also really nice not to see any comic book films on this fucking list on any of these categories. I was so
I
happy
mean,
about that. Apart from
superhero
Guardians of the
movies.
Galaxy, sorry. I
Superhero
like.
movies don't really get nominated for Oscars anyway, except for when it's best visual effects. I think.
Yeah, I know, but I'm really glad that it's still not fucking
Like,
on there.
well,
That
Black
they haven't
Panther.
broken down to resorting to doing that.
Well, Black Panther, Joker. And yeah, I think it's Black Panther
And
and Joker.
Joker, I'll give a pass to Joker because
Yeah,
it was a bit different than the most other. At
yeah,
least tried to be something a little bit more unique and
yeah,
deal with more serious topics. Whereas, in I feel like
yeah,
most Marvel films are just your typical. Oh
Well,
no,
I mean,
there
Joker's supposed to be so.
there's a big fucking creature that we need to beat, and like we need to work together to do that. And it's like, yeah,
Yeah,
whatever, who cares? I don't think I can really say anything more about it. About
not
it.
really. No. I mean, it's yeah. I mean, Oppenheimer, I'm sure deserved to win. I need to watch the movie.
Yeah, you
Movie
gotta watch it,
decision,
Connor.
but I need to watch it. But
You gotta bloody watch it, and
yeah,
then you
I need
come
to
back
watch a
and you
lot of these
go,
movies though. We got to watch a lot of these films though. 'Cause,
yeah, I know. I just you don't have fucking time, do you? I still haven't need to watch Dune Part Two for God's sake. Everybody's talking about that. That's probably going to be on
yeah,
the Oscar win 10 Oscars next year. You
probably.
know what I mean? So
I need to. Yeah, I need to watch that. I need to watch Wicked Little Letters as well, the new Olivia
yes,
Colman one,
I do want to
because that
watch Wicked
thing
Little Letters. That does look really fun.
really really funny. I really want to watch that. Um, and yeah, I think you've got that. You've got
That's it.
yeah, that's yeah for this month anyway. And then
That's for the
yeah,
that's for now anyway. I'm going to
yeah,
try and catch. I'm going definitely going to watch Poor Things and Zone of Interest,
yeah,
and yeah. I mean, I definitely want to watch both of those films. So we'll see what happens. I might give Holdovers a try as well,
yeah,
and Anatomy of a Fall. But I'm not
yeah.
really the best with legal dramas. I usually fall asleep during them. Apart from 12 Angry Men,
Mm,
that
okay,
is the best legal drama film of all time. It's so good.
yeah,
I'll happily sit through that any day of the week.
mm.
Oh, excuse me. Right. Yeah, that's it. We have covered the Oscars 2024. Is there anything that happened at the Oscars that you would like to briefly talk about?
What happened at the Oscars? There was a dog in the
There
crowd.
was a dog.
There was a dog. Um, No, I mean the
There
thing with the
was.
Oscars is that, like I said, I don't really watch them. I'll watch the highlights on YouTube, and that's pretty much it. I
Yeah, and you
mean,
watch like see like the memes and stuff. Like
yeah,
obviously the big thing coming out of it mainly is the whole thing with Jonathan Glazer, the director of Zone of Interest.
yeah,
That's the big news story to come out of it, and I can understand why because it
yeah,
is annoying when the two facedness of like the Academy where it's like, oh, here's this film about the Ukrainian civil war, about the Ukrainian Russian war, and look how
yeah,
sad it is, and like all these people are
yeah,
dying, and then it's like, oh, the genocide in Gaza. What's that? I've never heard of it. And
mm,
it's like it just so that two facedness is always really bad, and it
yeah,
always has to happen with these like celebrities as
mm,
well.
yeah,
And like this industry has a habit of like pushing away things that it doesn't feel like it's comfortable, like that feel like are going to alienate people or stuff like that. And it's like, oh fuck
yeah.
off, who cares? Um, yeah, John Cena came out naked.
Oh yeah, I've heard about this. Yeah,
Um, it was funny. It was funny, but I feel like
but why did he come
Jimmy.
out naked? What was the?
The reason why was because they were making a joke about, I think it was in the 1972 Academy Awards, a shrieker came out on stage at one point,
Oh,
and it
okay.
was just like a random guy. It wasn't like a planned bit or anything like that.
Yeah,
Came out on stage on national TV, you know, ran past behind the stage and then like, ran out and then obviously got tackled by security and shit.
mm,
Um, and then they were making a bit saying, "Oh, wouldn't it be really funny if it happened again?" And then like John Cena came back. Kate was like
mm,
hiding behind the set, being like, "Oh, Jimmy, I don't want to do this." And then like he's like, "No, but you need to present the award." So then John Cena came out with the envelope
yeah,
in front of his dick,
yeah.
and it was a funny bit that was ruined by Jimmy Kimmel being really fucking unfunny.
All right.
I mean, I'm sorry, like I'm sure he's a lovely guy, but I just generally think Jimmy Kimmel is very unfunny.
Mm,
Um, But yeah, and I thought the bit was kind of just ruined, and it was like, oh yeah, we remember that. Like, isn't it funny that this thing happened one time? It's like, yeah, but it was more funny when it happened. Like, it would have been funnier if it was just if John Cena literally just ran out,
yeah. I
like
get it,
naked. That would
yeah,
have been way more. That would have been way more funnier. But
yeah. Exactly. Yeah,
well, it is what it is.
yeah. Um,
What
Nobody got
else?
slapped this year.
Oh yeah, because Will Smith's fucking banned. That's why
Yeah, he's banned for 10 years.
he's banned for 10 years. He can't bloody
Yeah,
do anything about it.
yeah,
Yeah, he can't come on stage and fucking start slapping it. That would have been amazing if instead
yeah,
of the streaker coming out, like instead of the whole John Cena bit,
yeah,
fucking like Will Smith just ran out from the back of the stage, went up to Jimmy Kimmel and just slapped him. Now that would have been amazing.
yeah,
That would have been amazing. That's all I'm saying. You
yeah.
know, but
Mm,
we can't have that stuff happening, unfortunately.
no, 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 not
That's
again,
fine.
not again.
Yeah, I think
Mm,
it's I think it was a perfectly fine Oscars.
yeah, yeah. It was fine. Yeah, it
It
was
was
very
it was
solid.
There
It
was
was
nothing
probably
that surprising, and it
yeah,
was all, like, pretty
yeah,
standard fare, and I don't think anybody's really that surprised, but that's fine.
yeah. I think in the past couple of years, the Oscars have sort of not been a joke, but have been not to the same heights they've been in the past. I think this is probably the first one where I think people have watched and have been like, yeah, that was solid enough. That was a solid enough
I
broadcast.
think it was good that there was a lot of, like,
Yeah,
really, like, interesting films there, like, a little bit
yeah,
different than usual.
yeah,
I still think 2019 is probably the best one that's happened in a while,
yeah.
and
I would
last
agree with
year's as
that.
well with
Yeah.
Everything Everywhere All at Once winning everything, which was legitimately
Mm.
deserved.
Oh yeah, very much.
That's still probably one of the best films that's come out in a long while in terms of, like,
Yeah.
just, like, a nice,
Well, people.
relatively well
Yeah,
budgeted, like, interesting
yeah,
film that was dealing with something that, was a little different than what most films usually deal with. So yeah. Yeah, that's it pretty much. That's the Oscars. It's done for another year.
yeah.
Put in a little I'm gonna have to take off my tuxedo now, that I've been wearing through the entire podcast, and,
Oh no.
hang it up
Oh
for
no.
this year, and we'll be back ready for next year.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Do you want to do it again next year or?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
I'm always down to do Oscars. I like, even if I don't necessarily really like the Oscars as like a thing, like I'm like,
yeah,
whatever. It's fun to talk
yeah,
about and
yeah.
fun.
It is fun.
Oh my god, we haven't even talked about the biggest thing that happened at the fucking Oscars. Al Pacino
Oh yeah,
messing
fuck.
up the fucking. That was so funny. I watched
Yeah,
that clip and I was like, what? What the fuck did he just do? I'm looking at the
yeah,
envelope and I'm seeing I'm seeing Oppenheimer. And then he just looks up and everybody's silent for like two
yeah,
seconds and starts
yeah,
slowly clapping like, yay? Oh, it's so funny. He is
yeah.
like 83 years old now.
To be fair, yeah, he is. Yeah,
He's 83
yeah,
years old now and like his brain doesn't work properly.
yeah. And he's having a kid. Apparently, he's having another
Yeah, well, he's
child.
had a kid. He's had a kid with,
I think.
a
Well, I think.
30-year-old woman. That's who he's had a
Yeah,
kid with.
yeah. She. What? The kid's been born now,
I
or
think so,
I guess
yeah.
he would. Yeah,
I think so, yeah. I don't know.
yeah.
I don't know
Congratulations, Al Pacino, on your new
I don't know
child.
the personal details of Al Pacino's life,
Yeah,
unfortunately. Dunkachino, sorry.
yeah.
He did legally change his name in the film Jack and Jill to Dunkachino, so,
Oh
we should
well.
refer to him by his actual name.
All right. Okay. Uh, yeah. Well, it's always fun to talk about the Oscars, but yeah, it is fun to talk about the Oscars and stuff. I mean, again, I don't watch them, but it's always fun to like
Well, yeah,
sit back and
I think there's
yeah,
2 ways you can look at it. One is like, the recognition for like, a lot of people's hard work, but also the kind of pomp and circumstance that comes with it.
mm,
And I feel like people are becoming more, including the celebrities themselves, are becoming more aware of that. With like social media and stuff, they're becoming more conscious
yeah,
of like, oh, are we becoming a bit too kind of smug and a bit too detached from society,
yeah,
which is never inevitably going to happen if you're famous. You know what I mean? Because you are removed from society because people know who you are. You know what I mean? And you're going to be constantly recognized most of the time. So I
yeah,
understand it, but um, yeah, it's an interesting time we live in. There's a lot of
yeah,
change about to happen in the world. I think,
mm, yeah, exactly.
both
Yeah.
for better
Well,
and worse. And yeah,
um, for better or for worse, we'll see.
that's fine.
And
Yeah.
mm,
I got nothing else, buddy.
yeah, oh, he sure he closes out then.
We'll fade it out right now. We'll
Yeah,
start playing some
yeah,
nice, beautiful music here. I assume
yeah,
fading out as we say our goodbyes. Well,
mm,
thank you very much, guys, for listening into this week's episode. Well, I say this week. We don't do this weekly. For this duration, this time in which we happen to record its episode of my isolation podcast. I've been your host, Alex and Al, and I've been joined by Connor O'Donnell. You can find his website and you can
yeah,
find various other links to his social medias down in the bottom. You'll probably be able to find links to some of my stuff as well down at the bottom, even though I don't really post much. But we're currently working on a film together, aren't we, Connor?
here we are. Yeah, the boldening.
The Baldening. Look out,
Yeah,
guys. It's going to be fucking terrible. You're
it's
going to
gonna
regret watching it,
be,
but it's going to
it's
be
gonna
good. I
be
can't wait.
nah, it's gonna
Um,
be great. Yeah, I can't
yeah.
wait for that. Yeah.
Um, yeah, I guess that's it then, guys.
Mm.
Be safe, be healthy, enjoy the rest of your days, and see you later.